means this is my season for my business, then how much income I will do. I have to I have to apply for little more than that, like that. Otherwise, if I apply for more limit, then I have to bear the interest rate and all those things.
Fine. So before we begin with today's session, do you have any doubts, anything that you want to ask?
Hmm. I have gone through.
Okay. Okay.
Huh.
So as you know, today's topic is about risk. So tell me, are you a risk taker? Why or why not?
I'm a risk taker as an entrepreneur. We have to take risk, and I learned to take calculated risks. Mm, Usually in business or in everywhere, you have to take risk. Unless you take risk, what I feel is we will not move ahead. Otherwise, we start thinking in somewhat comfort zone, or there will not be any progress
Hmm.
if you are not a risk taker. Because in business also, I had one training before going entrepreneurship training. In that, there were so many small games. You may be knowing that ring toss game. In that
Hmm.
ring toss game, ours was a team of 28 students, and
Hmm.
they gave us ring toss game. I studied everyone's nature. Means that the trainer evaluated after that game, evaluated us. Means everyone's approach was discussed. Few of my colleagues, means standing in front of, means take at 1 or 2 feet only, directly put that that ring. And over risk takers, means they decided they go for 10 to 15 feet from a distance, they tossed the ring. But we should judge our capacity. If in first round I came to know from which distance it is possible to make the attempt successful, when I
Hmm.
throw from what distance, then in next round I became successful. And then in third round, it increased my distance, just to check. Means yeah, something happening, some voice,
Okay,
some
maybe it was it one. Okay.
some disturbance. Like that. It means they asked us to, means when we are going in business also, how much working capital we want. There also we have to calculate. Means this is my season for my business. Then how much income I will do. I have to I have to apply for little more than that, like that. Otherwise, if I apply for more limit, then I had to bear the interest rate and all those things. More interest will be charged. So everything should go in a calculated way. Means before taking risk, we should give a thought, and then attempt that particular event or thing. If you ask me about physical risk, one more question is there now. What is the riskiest event? I think it is about the question is targeted about physical risk. As I don't know swimming, I'm always afraid of water. I had been to Andaman. There, I decided to go for scuba diving. They motivated us, even if you don't know swimming, there is no harm. We will help you. At that time, I took is riskiest. I felt that event was riskiest, but as I started, I enjoyed it actually.
Okay. Right. Over risk takers.
Mm.
There are certain people who are over risk takers. Instead of that, you can say that they have a high risk appetite. High
High
risk
risk,
appetite. And right,
appet, risk.
appetite.
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 Okay. Mm.
All right, like
Yes.
high risk
Mm.
appetite. Hmm.
Mm.
They usually have high risk appetite, so they are always ready to take on any risk in their life, even if it involves a huge amount of risk. Right.
Mm.
So yes. Hmm. Okay. So were you hydrophobic? Are you hydrophobic basically?
Yeah. Means
No.
you because I don't know that is a swimming because of that. But I enjoy when I go to seashores,
Okay.
but to a limited distance. Now,
Hmm.
because if we know swimming more confidently, we can go into deep sea. Na?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
It is not possible.
Like if you are walking on a certain bridge, and underneath you can see the water gushing through, and there's like this entire cliff of water, you can see it flowing. Do you get scared by that, or are you like okay with it, like okay, it's water, I can just walk? Hydrophobic means who is always concerned whether he or she would fall into the water, and yeah, that is
No,
what
no,
is okay.
not like that. It is okay, but there is some. What I feel there is some risk because I don't know swimming.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah. So it's mostly connected with you not knowing swimming,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. And have you ever regretted taking a risk or not taking a risk in life?
Regretted. Once I did one deal. Hmm. I thought it is upcoming things. I took a risk. The person who was unknown, but he showed all this thing, business, lucrative offers and this thing. At that time, I took risk, but it went wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
means I regretted over that. I always tell my husband that we would have given thought, or we would have checked with many of the other um, clients or this thing like that. We got our money got stuck there. So I regretted. I'm always now also I am thinking that I took a hurried decision like that. And only the mistake I did once.
Okay. Okay. So I took a decision in haste, basically. I took a decision
Huh.
in haste without,
I said hurriedly, na? In
yes,
haste.
yes,
It
in
was
haste
okay.
without giving a
Mm,
second thought. Yes,
mm,
okay.
mm, mm.
Now, yes, you yourself are an entrepreneur. Actually, so you are taking risks in your life almost all every day, right? And it's been a continuous journey with risk with you as well. There are other cases where we can imagine, let's say, a person who's trying to settle abroad. So of course, there's also a risk of migrating to a country abroad, right? There could be plenty of situations that you can think of. So tell me, what are the advantages and disadvantages of taking risk?
Advantages. I said, na, there should be, we should take risks. Unless we take risk, there is no progress. But risk should, we have to give a thought. As you said, in haste, one should not take risk. From all the angles, he or she should think and take the advice of elderly also, and then do what your inner mind says at last.
Okay.
And this, if we take hurriedly, definitely we have to feel sorry for that. We have to
Hmm.
correct, no? We have to regret. We have to
We
regret.
have to regret.
Regret. Hurried decisions always put us in embarrassing situations only. What I feel.
Hmm.
Many times it happens.
Hmm.
Even few of our friends take hurried decisions. Na, we will come to know that that was a hurried decision.
Hmm. Okay. There's
Mm.
another idiom to it.
Mm.
Can you see that?
Yeah, got hot-headed.
Right. Hot headed means someone who does things very quickly without thinking twice.
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
So he or she actually doesn't even think about before doing the things, reacts to it quickly, or does the
Mm.
things quickly. So, like we
Yeah.
can say. So I
Mm.
was hot headed, right? Or at that point of time, I didn't realize what kind of a
Yes.
deal I was, or what kind of a problem I was. Putting myself into, right? So I didn't get to realize it, right? Okay, fine. Okay. And right now, yes, another word that I would like to give you is,
I close action has been in other. What is that?
sorry,
What you say?
I just said that I'm giving you a certain word in the chat box.
Huh. Give it.
Yeah, did you get that word?
No, I didn't see. What is that
It is
word?
in the chat box. It is in the chat box.
Chat
There's a,
box. Okay.
yeah, there's a bottom. In the bottom you would get an option for chat, or
Hot-headed.
oh,
Contemplate.
yes. Do you know the meaning of contemplate?
Not exactly. I have come across that word, but
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me to use it in sentence, I I
Okay.
cannot. Just let
Okay.
me know.
Okay.
Contemplate.
Contemplate. Contemplate basically means that you are thinking deeply. You are in deep thought about something. They are thinking deeply, or you're in deep thought about something. So that is called contemplate, right? Like for example, whenever we try to take up any decision in our life which involves a huge decision maybe, so we contemplate, we think about it deeply, right? So yes, this is what it is called, contemplate, when we think deeply about a certain thing, right? So when contemplating the risk, what are the factors do you need to see when contemplating the risk?
One contemplating the lyrics, one has to see all positive sides, negative sides, and give a thought of if you are in a family, well, think of all other members also. If in a business, you have to think of many aspects, financial, other rules and regulations, all the things we have to give a thought and then uh, contemplating the particular decision.
Hmm. Negative and the positive aspects of anything needs to be seen first, right? Yes, before, where while we are contemplating about a certain risk, like for example, being an entrepreneur, you have to also look for backup plans in your life. You
Correct,
also
correct.
have to look for, you can say, what are the worst possible scenarios in your sector. You have to mentally prepare yourself for everything and
Meant.
anything and everything in life. And then again, you have to also look whether your project or whatever the task that you're doing, the business that you are doing, is going to be feasible in the near future or not. So you talk about the feasibility, you think about the feasibility, the you can say the long term feasibility and everything before
Plan.
starting off that particular venture or anything. So yes, there are various things that one needs to contemplate. Let's say that a person is trying to settle abroad or migrate abroad, right? There might be
Migrated.
some risk associated with that as well. Let's say if a person is on a PR visa, let's say, I'm just imagining things, right? So if he or she is in a PR visa, so of course he'll have a risk that the companies may not accept him, and he may not land into a job. So of course he has to think in different directions, in multiple directions, before taking the risk. Right. So this is one thing that I feel that yes, it should happen.
Correct.
Right. Hmm. Okay. Fine. Now, although we do not have time enough, but yes, tell me first, do you have any doubts, anything that you want to ask?
No, you use that contemplating word in one more sentence.
Hmm.
I want to.
Contemplate. Okay,
Huh.
you want me to use it in some other sentence. Okay. Um, hmm. Before joining the university, I contemplated a lot about the university's whereabouts. Right.
Okay.
I
Right.
tried to. Okay, I saw my friend contemplating. I mean, sitting in the window, contemplating about something. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
just assuming, contemplating about. I'm contemplating uh, going abroad for a year for my masters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yes. Means
Uh,
both aspects we are uh, thinking about when we are taking a decision.
hmm, hmm.
Correct. Correct.
I
When
contemplated going to a university, to a renowned university. Yes, something like that,
I
right?
contemplated before sending my son to a particular RAC,
Hmm. Correct.
engineering.
Correct.
Huh.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
Correct. Correct.
Yes. This is how
Understood.
you can use that, right?
Hmm.
Yes. Now we can also use it in some other manner as well, like in contemplation, right?
Hmm.
Like for example, in sometimes you might have heard, if you might have seen it in some books or something. So in contemplation of, we often use this, right? Which means like, how can we use that in a sentence? Okay, the lawsuit. The lawsuit. No, 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 not like that.
Hmm.
Okay, she just responded with another email, um, in contemplation of, in contemplation. No, I would rather say something that is being thought about or is considered for a certain moment. So we use in contemplation for that, right?
Huh.
So
In
in
answering the
contemplation
mail.
of, in contemplation of the reply to the email, right? She took some time off to think about something like that.
Correct.
Or a
Correct.
lawsuit was filed against the company, or lawsuit against the company is still in contemplation, which means it is
Huh.
thought about, it is
Correct.
being
Correct.
considered yet, right? It will
Very
take
good.
time,
Huh.
right?
Perfect. Perfect. In contemplation.